Let's just start, shall we? So, 2022 was a fuck of a year. Like, just a real bad time all around for everybody involved, pretty much. Mine started out with me in COVID quarantine, and gonna be honest, there were some good moments overall. However, it very much held COVID quarantine energy throughout the entire year. So, without further ado, oh my fucking god, this is hard to open. 1 second. I'm trying to do it delicately. Oh my god, there was an easy tear fucking... Oh! I accomplished remarkably little this year. However, considering everything that went down, I'm still here, and in that way, I must consider it a win. Because, wow, did it seem like that wasn't going to happen for a little bit. Oh, yeah. Shabbat Shalom, fuck this year. Okay. I wanted to kind of make a video because I've been gone due to events. I kind of just wanted to make a video kind of explaining where I've been, what's been up, mostly also for me because last year kind of happened at a speed that was catastrophic and also relentlessly slow. So let's do a general wrap-up of this year because it has made me reevaluate what I want to do, and we're going into 2023 nice and clean, freshly... I was going to say waxed, but that would be a lie because I'm single, in quarantine, not anymore, but essentially social isolation. And, God bless. So, my main thing that I did this year that I've kind of been doing since quarantine, actually, it was kind of a January to January thing, is I worked on a genealogy project. I got on Ancestry, I think in January, they had some sort of sale going on, and by God, they got me, because I'm still on there, and I have like 5,000 something people in my family tree now. I personally thought it was going to be a quick in and out situation because the story I got from my family was that on my dad's side, which is the American side, because my mom, her family comes from a small ass village in France, and essentially were there from when records started being written down on who lived where and who was marrying who in the 1700s. So that is an easy genealogy to track, although I do have a great grandaunt who went missing. But let's not worry about that. On the American side, I was told growing up that they were all like 19th century New York immigrants. Your classic New York success story. They came here from the old country, and we knew little to nothing about them, except there was family lore that we were related to Wolf Tone, and we are, incredibly distantly. But no one in my family gives a shit about that. So, we are all very proud about it. And I did find, while I was doing my research, a man who got on the... they wrote an article about him. This was like November 2020, I think, in the Dublin Times, I want to say, who is exactly as far distant related to Wolf Tone as I am, through the same man, except I want credit because our people stayed in New York and his moved to Florida. So I think mine are cooler. But whatever. I'm just saying, if I come to Dublin, I want you to write an article about it. I will also be grabbing my entire ass family because they all seem to want to come. So it'll be like 50 cousins at once. So it wasn't just that I was doing research, is that I decided to compile it. One sec. So it wasn't just that I did all this research, it's that I decided to compile it into a fucking book because I think I might have autism. I'm very extra that way. Like, I just sat down and did this at one point over the course of like a day. That's my grandmother going all the way through the like 1400s on that side. And this was before I added a lot of people. So this is like outdated. There's not enough people on this. And then it continues past, and then it continues past the 1400s over here. I got very excited because I can find out exactly how I'm related to St. Olga of Kiev, as featured on Puppet History. Now, is it very distant? And technically, is everyone who's a little bit European also probably related to her? Maybe. But I know how, and that's what's important. So I might make a video about kind of what this whole experience was like, because it was really interesting. And I do have some thoughts about genealogy and why it's such an American thing to research, because honestly, like, you go to a lot of the genealogy websites and you get like to the immigrant, and then it's usually done because people in that country do not give a shit. So I have like a couple of Irish cousins who've taken like 23andMe, but like generally who I find when I do DNA tests, it's like everyone else in the country, the United States, who has also done it. So that's been fun. I will say one of the things I found most rewarding about this process is not only being able to identify specific people that I'm related to, it's not only the fact that my family will rarely bring up stories unprompted, so this has been a great opportunity for me to show up with a picture and be like, this is great Grandpa Frank. Thoughts? Memories? Please give them to me and I will write them down, because all of you are so fucking tight-lipped. So I will say, one of the things I found the most rewarding about the process is just generally feeling like I'm related to people. Like, obviously I knew I was related to people, but as far back as my memory went, it was kind of like my grandparents, my American grandparents, who I never met because they both died before I was born, and that's kind of it. And so it's been really rewarding to be able to track down names, faces. In a lot of ways, we had a lot of pictures that didn't have names to them, so I've kind of always looked at them and been like, I wonder who that is. It turns out one of those is like, oh, it's my philandering great-grandfather who had 2 wives die in insane asylums. Of poison. Self-poison? Don't know. But yeah, it's been really rewarding. I also went on a trip to Gettysburg, where my great-great-great-grandpa Frank fought. He was from Germany. He did not speak English. He was 5'4", which personally I find funny because I'm taller than him and he literally fought in a war. I also probably weigh more than him, but that's also because there was not good food. So I found this like a really fun project to work on, although it did come with a horrible realization, because I thought that all my ancestors were like 19th century immigrants. I didn't have to see myself in the context of colonialism in this country. Unfortunately for me, I have traced a good chunk of my ancestors back to the Pilgrims who arrived in Massachusetts in like 1630s. So, fuck for me. That's been, I think I had like a good sit down and a think about the legacies and what it means. Like literally this statue is called the Pilgrim, and that guy, Deacon Samuel Chapin, is my 10th great grandfather. So like a real OG. He also had 72 grandchildren by the time he died. So there's a lot of people related to him. Like, you go on famous next of kin, and I'm related through him to like so many goddamn people. It's honestly exhausting. I had to stop counting cousins really after a certain point, because it's like you go back enough generations and you're going to get a lot of people. But yeah, that's been a really rewarding project. I might make a little bit of a video on that later, because I did kind of tie it to book stuff. Because unfortunately for me, I only read, where's my note? Like 19 books this year. Of those, they're pretty much all like thriller fiction that I could read in one go, because I started reading about 30 other books and then I put them down and I didn't finish them, because this has been a year. Of those, some of these are over here, which are my genealogy books, some of them are about the people, some of them are by the people. And some of them, like this one, which is about my second cousin 3 times removed, Arthur Bell, who started a cult in 1930 in California. I might make a video about him specifically, because I find this fascinating. It's like the proto-cult. Like, it has everything. It has Hollow Earth theory. Pearl Flag was a false flag operation by the Jews, but not really the Jews, but the Jews. Scientology, like a direct link to Jim Jones and the People's Temple. Astounding shit. And that guy's my cousin. So that's fun. But yeah, I started a lot of books, put them down, didn't finish them. But I will say, of the ones I finished, top 3, in no particular order. Yeah. So my top 3 books that I read this year, and read and specifically finished, I'm going to count. In the Miso Soup by Ryu Murakami. Ryu Murakami is the writer who wrote Audition, and I honestly thought that nothing could be worse than the experience of watching Audition. However, this man proved me wrong. He made even what you would consider like a pretty standard thing in like a horror book or a horror movie where someone gets like their throat slit. He managed to describe it in the most viscerally upsetting way ever by like describing it like meat with soy sauce on it, and it legitimately made me gag on the subway. So props to him. Very upsetting, really good. I really want to read more stuff by him, although I'm not sure I will be able to read his Audition book, because oh man, was that movie already kind of traumatizing. Manhunt by Gretchen Felker Martin. That was post-apocalyptic. All men have gone cuckoo banana zombie, raving mad, and we follow these 2 trans women who capture the men, cut off their testicles, and eat them to keep their estrogen high enough so that their testosterone doesn't take over their brains and make them cuckoo banana pants. It was really good. It dragged a little bit by the end, but that was also because I was putting it down and picking up other books at the same time, and like going a couple of days in between reading. So by the time I picked it up again, I was kind of lost because there was like a big climactic battle, and I was like, I've forgotten who some of these people are. But it's because they introduce a lot of characters right near the end. But really good book. Again, some viscerally upsetting descriptions, this time of body horror in a spiky, oozy sort of way, if you can pick up what I'm putting down. Also a lot of sex, which was kind of not necessarily my thing, but you know. It was mostly because it was surrounded by really gross descriptions of like spiky dicks. So my third and last, and this was... I had it on my reading list before some things happened in my personal life that made it more relevant to me. But it's Dancing at the Pity Party, a Dead Mom graphic memoir. It's by Tyler Feder. It's a graphic novel about the experience of her mom getting cancer and passing away, and kind of what the whole grieving process was like for her, and how strange it is to lose a parent young. Now, I had some moments this year where I had to think about what it would be like to lose a parent, and it was a bad time. We're still kind of in that time, unfortunately, but I think the book, it really helped. And it's not the same situation because I'm not like in college like she is in the book at the time her mother gets diagnosed and then passes relatively quickly after that. But it talks about grief in a funny and approachable way that gave me comfort. Also, I cried pretty much the whole way through. So, you know, if you need a good cry or you want to think about... Who wants to think about their parents dying? Or if you want to read a book that addresses these kind of topics, I would definitely pick it up. At the same time as I read very little books this year, I also watched like very few movies. It was mostly a year of TV shows for me. Although also I watched a lot of live trials, which took up a lot of time. But for the movies, they kind of all happened near the end of the year, except for one which was in the beginning of the year, like first week. So, my favorite movie of the year, I have two. One of them is a 2022 release, and one of them is old as fuck. And the new one, it's the Guillermo del Toro Pinocchio. No one is shocked, but God, Guillermo del Toro could do anything, and I'm there. I'm present. Even the stuff he produces and doesn't have a direct hand in directing, I am there for it. Pinocchio, however, did make me weep uncontrollably for the last 10 minutes of the movie, and a good 30 minutes beyond that. Spezzatura, best character. God, it's Kate Blanchett just doing monkey noises, and she gave that monkey pathos. Although I will say that's also the animators. The animators' animation. I love stop motion so much, even if it's used to crucify Pinocchio. God, that movie is beautiful. I love it so much. Only version of Pinocchio I really like, because that is not a story that I like, really, in general. So, quality. As for my favorite movie that, I had seen before, and is an older one, it's Night of the Hunter. Gorgeous. Kind of curveballs you with the Christian message right at the end, but the cinematography on it and the weird direction is so good. And I was obsessed with one specific shot from years ago before I'd seen the movie. The shot they managed to do underwater of the body in the car. I was obsessed with that at age 14, and I don't think I knew where it was from. I think I saw it on Tumblr or something, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be in my brain forever. Worst movie. It was Death on the Nile.
And enough champagne to fill the Nile.
The movie fucking sucked. The only way we really got through it is by playing a drinking game. And even then, it was not worth it by the end, because one of the rules, there were 5 rules, and we were getting fucking plastered. And one of them was drink every time they say Gal Gadot's character's name. And there's a point, 30 minutes to the end of the movie, where we were just so we had to cut that one. But it's so awful. I don't understand why Kenneth Branagh does this. He doesn't seem to like the original source material. He made Poirot grimdark. There was a whole scene in the beginning where he's in the trenches and you get his tragic backstory on why he has that mustache. And it's stupid. And I will say, the Malkovich Poirot did it better, because that one is stupid as fuck. And honestly, you cannot look at it and ever think that Malkovich is Poirot. It always just looks like Malkovich playing a completely unrelated character. So it works. That one was stupid. I had a good time with that one, but this one, it just feels insulting. And it honestly gets really boring near the end, so... Yes, my last thing of the year. Oh man. Bubbly goes to my head. It's music. And unfortunately, I feel kind of let down this year by the girls, because both Rina Sawayama and Florence and the Machine had brand spanking new albums, and neither one was my favorite. They both had really solid singles. And both had really solid pieces. However, as a whole, they lacked that special little oomph for me. Especially distressing to me because one of the songs that lacked oomph for me, Morning Elvis, off of Florence's album, she released a duet with the artist who did my favorite album of the year, Ethel Cain, Preacher's Daughter. I am not well when it comes to that album. And I plan to release a some sort of thing dissecting it, because I have a vision for it. Ideally, I'd want to make like a long-ass movie opera to it, if I had $1 million something. Also, Obama put one of the songs off of it on his top songs of the year, which is very funny, because that song is very anti-imperialist. But yeah, fuck 2022. Goals this year: get into sewing. Stop going to the hospital, everybody in my life. Please, stop it. No more hospitals, except for those who need to go for regular treatments. You are allowed to go. Once those treatments are over, never go back again. Okay, what was it? My 2023 goals. Okay. One, I plan to make more videos. I kind of fell into like a weird hole where I was like so focused on my genealogy thing that everything else kind of fell by the wayside. I also had a lot of software failures this year. My computer died, my microphone died. I tried to fix my microphone. However, I thought I fixed my microphone. However, when I sat down to record this, my microphone was not fixed. Hence this. No, my hair, the microphone. I'm recording on my iPhone. Hopefully by the next video, that is fixed. But we are low tech, and at this point, I'm like, I just need to sit down and record it, because if I wait for everything to be perfect, I will never do anything. So I'm just, really army crawling my way through the beginning of this year. So my main goal, I want to actually watch and read new things. Because I do notice that when I find myself in like a bad place, I will rewatch things that bring me comfort, or reread things that bring me comfort. And that just kind of turns into like a cycle of me never reading the books that I get or interacting with new things. So yeah, this year we're finishing books. We're actually sitting down to watch movies. We will not just watch every episode of Murder in Successville in one row. We will not. Not in this new year. We already did. So that's why we won't be doing it anymore. It's a year of finalizing projects. It's a year of living my best life. Because 30 is around the corner. I see it. I see it looming in the distance. And I kind of need to get my shit together. Not necessarily together, but I need to get my shit workable, you know? Because right now it's kind of just a mess. But that's what you get on this fuck of a life. I think I've drunk too much because my brain just keeps going completely empty. I have also only drunk like 3 glasses of this, but it was in a quick succession, so that might be it. I'm gonna go make myself a quesadilla. I love all of you. Be good. Do you have anything you're leaving for sure in 2022? Because, oh man, I'm living a lot. It's been one of the worst years on record, for me personally, but you know, we always gotta stay optimistic. Knock on wood, 2023 is my year. Not necessarily even my year. I'll just take no horrific tragedies. You know? I'm keeping the bar low. Anyways, cheers guys. I'm Theo. This has been Bib Theography. Fuck 2022. I'll see you on the next one. I will probably not be drinking then. Bye!